Hello to you. Hello to all. I hope you are doing better than the world. I have great pleasure today in inaugurating, with you, my new YouTube channel, the editorial line of which will be centered on subjects relating to borders. And who says borders, says maps. And so today, I am going to deploy that of northern Italy, more particularly of Lombardy and Piedmont, whose border is shared with Switzerland, and more precisely with the canton of Valais. As you can see, I've rolled out the map so you can find your way around better. So here you have Lake Geneva with the cities of Geneva, Lausanne and Montreux, all three in Switzerland. The second landmark is Mont-Blanc, which is located here on the border between Italy and France. The border that interests us today is the border between Switzerland and Italy. This border begins here at the tripoint of Mont Dolent, at 3,820 meters above sea level. A tripoint is a common border between three countries, France, Switzerland and Italy. The common border between Switzerland and Italy runs along the line of the ridges here, with many mountains exceeding 4,000 meters in altitude, and which then goes east. I suggest taking you to an alpine pass between Switzerland and Italy, one of the best known in the Alps, with an important historical past, and which has the particularity of being open to road traffic all year round, if weather permitting. The Simplon Pass connects the city of Domodossola, Italy, to the city of Brig, Switzerland.
This is the Simplon Pass. The border between the two countries consists of a section that runs in a general west-east direction, over 740 kilometers. It begins on the western ridge of Mont Dolent, in the Mont-Blanc massif, at 3,823 meters above sea level, by the tripoint formed by the border between France, Italy and Switzerland. It ends at a second tripoint formed by the borders between Switzerland, Italy and Austria. It is the longest international land border of Italy, which has 6, and Switzerland, which has 4. In the western part of the border, there are only 2 road passes that allow vehicles to transit between Switzerland and Italy. Either by the Grand St. Bernard Pass, which culminates at 2,473 meters, which is open from May to October, or via the Simplon Pass, at an altitude of 2,005 meters. There is indeed another possible route, much further to the east, which passes through the St. Gothard Pass, at an altitude of 2,106 meters, entirely located in Swiss territory, but the detour is important, if you make disregarding the alternative of road tunnels. In addition, only the Simplon Pass is open all year round, weather permitting, for the transport of people and goods. Starting from the Dolent tripoint, the natural border between Piedmont, in Italy, and Valais, on the Swiss side, follows the crest of the Alps between the Rhône basin and the Po basin. Indeed, the course of the border follows the line of the watershed as far as the Simplon. But at the Simplon, the border does not pass through the pass, at an altitude of 2,005 meters, but almost 18 kilometers of road below, on the Italian side, at the height of the Gondo gorges, at almost 850 meters from altitude. Thus, the southern part of the alpine slope leading to the Simplon Pass remained incorporated into the territory of Switzerland. Of course, there are political and historical reasons for this distance from the watershed, which in itself can be considered an anomaly, and we have to go back to feudal times to find the explanations. Which is not my point here. There is also a geographical reason related to the relief of the site in the sense that the gorges of Gondo, very tight, represent a serious natural obstacle in the event of war, a place easier to defend in the event of an invasion or the passage of an army, because it is an easier lock to hold. This same distance from the natural route also exists at the level of the Grand St. Bernard Pass, but in much smaller proportions, and also in favor of the Swiss Confederation, which thus encroaches on the catchment area on the Val d'Aosta side. The average altitude of the Italian-Swiss border is the highest on the European continent, with many peaks exceeding 4,000 meters. The Simplon Pass has been a place of passage since the Middle Ages, and explains the economic growth of the city of Brig, where the Simplon road leads to the Swiss side in the Rhône valley. The pass was first used by smugglers and mercenaries. Then a Swiss, the merchant Caspar Stockalper, financed the construction of a mule track in the 17th century, between the town of Gondo, on the border, and Brig, in Switzerland, in the Rhône valley. This path still exists today on almost its entire route. The opening of this trail helped to amplify south-north trade. Many commercial caravans took this route from the Mediterranean Sea to the countries north of the Alpine chain, and the salt trade, of which the wealthy merchant had the monopoly, flourished. In addition to the transport of goods, Caspar Stockalper also established a weekly courier service between Geneva and Milan. The next character to enter the scene, some 150 years later, was General Bonaparte. This gave an irreversible impetus to the development of the Axis passing through the Simplon. Then First Consul, Bonaparte was aware that Italy was going to become a centerpiece within the framework of his European ambitions, and that the passage of the Alps represented a major strategic stake. Thus, in 1800, the troops of General Bonaparte won the Battle of Marengo, in Piedmont, against the Austrians, thus ensuring the domination of northern Italy. For the First Consul, it was important to have control of the Alpine passes in order to better be able to monitor the Italian Republic, then known as the Cisalpine Republic. The road from Paris to Milan, the capital of Lombardy, passing through Lyon, Geneva and then the Simplon Pass, is shorter and faster than that which passes through Lyon, Chambéry and the Mont-Cenis Pass, then Turin, before joining Milan. The First Consul took the decision to widen and make the Simplon road more passable in order to allow the transport of his army, and more particularly of the heavy artillery with its cannons. The works were undertaken in March 1800, and were completed in October 1805 thanks to the technical prowess achieved by nearly 5,000 workers at the rate of 9 months of labor per year, the cold and the snow preventing any interventions in winter. But the work on the access roads was not then fully completed. Finally, in 1807, the route was fully open to wheeled vehicles, with no portages and dismantling of vehicles required. Thanks to the road, a diligent service was set up for travelers from 1809, which provided the Lausanne-Milan route. But it was via the Mont-Cenis Pass, slightly higher than the Simplon Pass, that Napoleon Bonaparte reached Milan in the spring of 1805 to crown himself King of Italy in May in the cathedral. In order not to offend the Austrians, Napoleon named Eugene de Beauharnais, the son of his wife Josephine whom he had recently adopted, Viceroy of Italy. Eugene held this post from July 1805 to April 1814, until the fall of the empire. In December 1810, in order to consolidate control of the Alpine road passing through the Simplon, at the very moment when the pass was in full service, Napoleon decreed the annexation of Valais, which became a French department under the name of Simplon. This decree is worded as follows.
Napoleon, Emperor of the French, King of Italy, considering that the Simplon road, which unites the empire to our Kingdom of Italy, is useful to more than 60 million men, that it cost our treasuries more than 18 millions, an expense which would become useless if commerce did not find convenience and perfect safety in it, that the Valais did not keep any of the commitments it had contracted when we started the work to open this great communication. Wanting besides to put an end to the anarchy which afflicts this country, and to cut short with the abusive pretensions of sovereignty of a part of the population on the other. We have decreed and do decree the following.
Article 1. Valais is united to the Empire. Article 2. This territory will form a department under the name of Department of Simplon. Article 3. This department will be part of the 7th Military Division. Article 4. It will be taken possession of without delay, in our name, and a Commissioner General will be responsible for administering it throughout the rest of this year. Article 5. All our ministers are responsible for the execution of this decree.
For 3.5 years, the Valaisans were French citizens, until the Valais was occupied by the Austrian army in December 1813. In 1815, at the Congress of Vienna, the canton of Valais was reconstituted, and was attached to the Swiss Confederation. Ironically, Napoleon never crossed the Simplon Pass himself. Since then, more than 2 centuries have passed, and due to Switzerland's neutrality, the geopolitical situation has remained stable, and the course of the border with Italy has hardly changed. Thus, the Simplon has become a major axis of international traffic of people and goods between the south and the north, with the pass open all year round. The addition of 2 railway tunnels, at the beginning of the 20th century, about 20 kilometers long, between Brig and Icelle, in Italy, at an altitude of about 680 meters, reinforced the importance of this axis. After numerous consolidation works, protection against avalanches, better calibrated works of art, the road that passes through the pass, considered to be the best equipped pass in Switzerland, was connected to the road network of the two countries, with a flow of both commercial and tourist vehicles, all year round. Originally, the customs posts were positioned almost on the line of the border, about 350 meters below Gondo. But the building is now disused, and the two posts have since been separated. The Swiss customs post is located at the entrance to the village of Gondo, 850 meters from the border line, while the Italian post is nearly 4 kilometers away, at the entrance to the village of Icelle, very close to the entrance to the Simplon railway tunnels. Hope you had a great time, and learned something. If so, consider subscribing to my channel.